and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition here at Slimy Green Garage. And today we are back, finally, on this Mustang, at least for this video. And I'll explain that more in detail as we go along, but I've made a list of things that we need to do. Basically, what I want to do with this car right now is, or I would say utilize this hoist for everything I need to do currently to get this car where I can roll it, steer it, and have the drivetrain out of it so that we can get it out of the way so we can use this hoist, this service bay for, well, what it's meant to be able to service things that are not long-term projects. So I got myself a piece of cardboard here and I've written down some basic stuff that I need to do. And so we gotta remove the hood, the driver fender, the front bumper, the radiator, the top bell housing, bolts, carb linkage, wiring, shock tower, braces, headers, power steering pump. The starter's going to have to come out, obviously, but what we're going to be doing is doing everything that we need to do up top first. Then we're going to get it up in the air. We have to repair the steering. Tie rod is completely broke underneath here, and so I got all this stuff for that, so we can get that fixed, make the car steer. Obviously, just get this engine and transmission out. The transmission leaks like a sieve, and so it just leaked and leaked and leaked until most of it was out, and then once we pull off the lines, it's going to make even more of a mess. But that's just part of what is entailed when you're doing a job like this. But so glad to have the hoist, so glad to have the shop, if you watched the last video, at least in a position where it should function really good. But I guess what we need to do is just go ahead and get to it, move some of this stuff out of the way, and we'll start at the top and work our way down. At this point, we just lower the hood down. We're just going to back them off most of the way on both sides. So how's your day going? It's a beautiful day here in Missouri. Well, I guess we got that one. This is where it would be beneficial to having two people. Can we still get to this one? Yeah. Well, that was highly effective, wasn't it? Alright, well, kind of tilted it up for us. Now if we got enough muscle, we can just pick that up and get it out of our way. Well, that wasn't so bad. Sometimes you need help, you know what I'm saying? Okay, moving on. Might as well just tackle this front bumper. Barely going on there anyway. Don't think so. Maybe. Don't forget, friends, to wear your proper PPE. Protect your eyes, protect your face, all those vital organs, and your ears as well, depending on the situation. These will work for this. Well, it did work. And any of you do-it-yourselfers know, if you just lay on that bolt for long enough, it's going to heat up, and a lot of times that'll do the job. So it did in this case. Assembly should cover it off there. Look at that. Okay, moving on to this fender. That one came out nice and easy. Make sure we don't damage any of these plastic pieces and parts. That one didn't do nothing. That one did. That one did. That one did. It's been a while since we've done anything to this. Like I said, we've been really busy working on, well, me out here in the shop getting the walls insulated and the OSB up, and the wife's been busting her tail on the inside of the cabin, gutting the kitchen, turning it into her dream kitchen as much as one can inside the space that we have. And But we've been doing good. It does feel good to actually be turning wrenches again. So, you know, pay attention, will you? A Phillips head screw that does not belong there, but that's what they used. And okay, that wasn't 6 inches long, but it was long enough. Okay, take 10. That's good. Bring it forward, check our front housing, and all that stuff. Our fender is removed. That wasn't bad. We can mark off the hood, driver's fender, front bumper, and that is where we are at. Radiator, we're going to have to drain that out. Probably going to remove the carburetor and all the linkage and the wiring. That's on our list. We've got to get the header bolts out. Basically, we're working on anything that we can do up top. You know what's nice is in this Mustang, the top bell housing bolts, especially with the fenders off, really easy to get to. And that is nice. I like that. I think we'll go ahead and get the bolts out that we can get to on the bell housing. We're going to leave these supports in until after we lift the car up, get the transmission out, get our steering fixed. And when we bring the car back down, we'll take these top braces off. This car structurally, as it sits right now, it needs some repair, and so I don't want to take any bracing away that I don't have to until we get the floors and the torque box in on that passenger side, new frame extensions. This top one on the driver's side, well, I can tell you this, it wasn't even seated all the way. It's got a lock washer in there that wasn't crushed. Same thing on the passenger top, I see. And so you know what happened? Bolt's too long. And whoever did this install said it'll be fine. I try to never be too critical when I'm working on a car after somebody else did. Because, you know, we're all learning. And I'm sure I've made some mistakes along the way that other people probably had to encounter and fix. And so we're just always learning. And I don't know what they were thinking with these bolts. Way too long. Show you what we got here. So, yeah, the end of that bolt is stripped just a little bit, and you may or may not be able to see it, but just the shoulder on that bolt, that was probably hitting the block. This thing was cranked all the way in. Wrong length. Hey, we're out in the shop. We're turning wrenches. We're having a good time. The second one, once it's broke loose, it's actually turning out a little bit easier than that first one. It's tight. Well, hey, whoever put them in, they at least made sure they were snug, even if they didn't seat. I don't know what the goal is for today. We didn't even start this video. I'm going to say it was at least 3 o'clock in the afternoon. But our daily driver, the Toyota Camry, well, it developed a misfire. Ordered some coil packs and plugs for that. Our 3/4 ton work truck, wife was driving it a couple weeks ago, blew out a rear brake line. So currently, on cars that are dependable, we're down to 1. And that's my dad's Toyota. And so I want to get this car out of the way so I can bring some of those other vehicles in and make it a little bit easier to service those. Are you an up top bolt or are you a down below bolt? I can get broke loose. Come on. Yeah! A few more clicks, different angle. Well, this is where you need a little breaker bar extension. And what I really need is a pipe to slide over my current wrench. Okay, we're starting to drain out our radiator. It is the next day. We didn't work too long on her last night. We're going to try to do this as clean as possible. Get off there. We can unplug our electric fan. I'm gonna go ahead while that's draining our antifreeze. I can get our power steering pump belt off. Start working on that. See up top here. I'm gonna loosen these. Should be enough. All right, power steering pump belt is removed. Maybe I'll go grab a strap so we can just hold that off to the side. That'll work. Power steering pump is out of the way. We're not making too bad of a mess, so that's good. We're careful. If we got a good jug, antifreeze is good. It's clean. We can reuse that. We can go ahead and pull this distributor cap off, get it out of the way. And it's another beautiful day here in Missouri. Happy about that. Wife is working on the kitchen. Started a fire this morning out in the fire pit. Mornings are getting cool. Now we can get all this out of the way. Told you we were going to take the carburetor off. I don't know if we're going to be using our intake mounting plate to pull the engine or if we're going to use our leveler. We'll figure that out when we get there, but I'm going to pull the carb off anyway. No carb gasket. There's some things that can be made more better. More better is the business we are in. Easy disconnect on our throttle linkage. Go ahead and disconnect the springs. There ain't nothing to it. Well, it looks like we're going to be using a wrench for those. Once we get them started, they ought to be a piece of cake. So we got metric. Why? Tell me why. What are we going to guess? 13, 12? I'm going to go with 12. Are we going to be right with the 12 millimeter? Yep. Sounds like our antifreeze is slowing down. So we're making good use of our time this morning. We're multitasking. Hopefully by the end of the day, the engine and the transmission is out of the car. We have cleaned up our messes and we have got the car outside the shop. Because our parts are supposed to be showing up for the Toyota Camry and our brake line kit for the Ford F-250. And I would like to be able to pull those vehicles in here when I'm working on them. Beans we're down to that one day. The whole stud wants to come out with this one, that's fine. Carburetor should be free. We disconnected our vacuum advance line. Everything else is capped off on this carburetor, so probably shred the gasket, which I don't care. That's fine. I guess if we were going to use our intake adapter plate, we'd have to put this stud back in, which means we're just going to have to get that nut off there. Not a big deal. Just get us a pair of vice grips and handle this. So lining the alternator back up, not a big deal. Easy fix. I guess I'm going to have to go ahead and take that top bolt out anyway, just to get our ground wires loose. And what are you? 9/16, 5/8? What are you going to be? We got both out here, so you're not going to fool me this time. Unless you're metric too. Well, we're going to have to get a ratchet wrench. We're going to say it's 9/16, but it's probably metric because that is a little loose. What would that be? 14 mil? What's your guess? Find out. Yep. Wasn't done with the job. Thought I was done with the tool, apparently. Take our bolt out. Maybe. There we go. Remove our ground wires. And I guess while we got the alternator in a good position, go ahead and pull out the rest of our wiring, unless it can go. Oh, great. Oh, great. Oh, it's going to pieces. Is there a wiring harness we can just unplug? Yes, yes there is. So that makes life easy. So if we want to, we can go ahead and put the alternator back on, because it doesn't necessarily need to be taking off the engine. We just had to get that ground undone. We won't tighten this all the way back up, but we'll thread it in a little bit. Alternator is unhooked. We have a ground cable that we could probably just leave in there. I don't think it's gonna hurt nothing. Our headers are disconnected. The spark plugs are out. We talked about, it looked like this was running rich. I think that's just a Demon 600 or 650. 650 would be too big, most likely for this engine. I need to run the numbers on that carburetor, and we can figure that out. So from up top, after the radiator, lower radiator hose is off, after the radiator is out, and in order to finish doing that, we need to disconnect the transmission lines and not make any bigger of a mess than we have to. But at that point, I think it's safe to say that we can get this car up in the air and we can finish removing our transmission bell housing, what's left of the bolts from underneath, do our torque converter nuts, get those out, and then we just got the transmission cross member. The drive shaft's already out, so I think we're looking pretty good, actually. The pan's getting fairly full, but I think it's gonna take it. Help me understand. It's important to stay humble in life, so I'm gonna be humbling myself, laying on the floor for a little bit, but then we're gonna make life easy. And while I'm down here and it's splashing in my face, hey, knock it off. Goodness sakes. I'm just gonna loosen the clamps on those transmission lines. And then I get to practice my patience. Come on, get out there. All right, we got her. Lower hose is off. All right, watch me make a mess. I'm gonna sit you back a little bit. Gentle. Easy does it. It's good, clean antifreeze, so hopefully most of it goes in the bucket. Yeah, see what I told you? Could have been worse. Could have been much better. Break time is over, and this time of year, well, it's cool in the mornings, gets hot. So yeah, sometimes you gotta change. Got baby Jay out here, helping out in the shop. You being a good girl, huh? You being a good puppy? Yes. Yes, you're a good puppy. Now get out of my way. Here. Get out of my way. I gotta get under here. I don't need your help. I appreciate it. Thank you. Can you just let me get to this? So now, if you don't realize it already, we're gonna get the transmission lines disconnected from the radiator. Well, now that we got that going, we go ahead and get our bolts out of the radiator. Sometimes the old camera likes to misinterpret what I say for whatever reason, and she just shuts down on me. So then I gotta tell her to restart, and it makes me wonder, am I not speaking correctly? What do you think, Jasmine? You having a good time? She does a pretty good job. She likes to be close where the action's at. LB, on the other hand, he's always in protector mode, so he is wandering the property non-stop, looking for his next encounter with whatever it may be. Bolts are out, everything's disconnected. Should be able to pull this straight up and out. Beautiful. We'll put it somewhere it won't leak on something. All right, one last look over our situation before we get our horse situated to get this thing up in the air. Is there anything else we need to do from up top? The starter will all be done from below. Power steering pump disconnected, radiator removed, ground wires removed, carburetor, distributor cap, wires, plugs, header bolts. I don't think there's anything else. I think we're good. What do you guys think? I think we got less work underneath than what we had up top. So this has not been difficult. Our motor mounts, we're going to save on those until after we get the transmission out. Fly away with me, here we go. Well, the mess isn't even all that bad really under the car, so that's good. Service elevator, go way up. I stopped for a bit, double check my pads. Should have done that already, but backs look good, the fronts do too. Let's keep going. Yeah, I don't see anything stamped on these headers that makes me feel any better about my purchase. This is something I would order on Amazon. They don't work. Okay, headers are out. Very nicely done. Did it again. I was telling you about that earlier. Sometimes the camera just stops. I didn't tell it to. What did I say? If you guys recognize what I said that caused it to shut off, put it down there in the comment section. Well, would you look at that? It's still up there. Yeah, we knew that, didn't we? So yeah, I guess got some cardboard stuffed in between this cross member and it's laying on our power steering rack and pinion set up there, but it'll be fun. So I figure what we'll do is we'll get the transmission out. We'll probably go ahead, lower the car back down, get the engine out, and then we'll lift it back up. We'll fix our steering situation. Then bring it down one last time, and we'll get it rolled out of here. Okay, try to scoot it back. I think we're good. We are clear of the flex plate. I don't see anything hanging up. So we should be able to, nice and easy, let this drop down. We're not catching up anywhere. We're not perfectly balanced, but she ain't bad. I'm gonna speed it up. What do you think? Well, we got the first stage down. Easy peasy. While we have the transmission out, we're obviously going to power wash it and put all new seals in. Front pump seal, the rear tail housing seal here. We'll probably throw a transmission filter in and just all that stuff that we're here. So let's do it right so we don't have to deal with it again. Okay. Yeah, don't know where that came from or what it was for, but it doesn't need to go in the bag because it ain't for this car. But I'm gonna. Now let's just go ahead and put a few cranks on this thing. It looks like we picked the right hole to pull from. There, it's going to come forward a little bit. Well, so far the hoist is doing a good job. Will it lift it high enough? I sure hope so. That's probably enough to clear just fine. How easy is this thing to roll? Oh, like butter. This is actually a pretty expensive engine cherry picker, but we got it for a decent deal. I don't even remember what I paid. But the engine's out of the car. Now, like I said, we need to go to town so I can get some bolts, go through our engine stand in the back of the block. Shouldn't have to remove the flex plate. Should be fine on that, but I think temporarily, maybe I'll bring this cart that we're going to use for the transmission over. And we'll just gently set the weight on that so it's not just hanging up in the air like that. Yeah, as something like so. Now, new cylinder. Oh, we do got a little leakage there. So I'm just going to crack this because, you know, some of them are really touchy. If I had an old tire to stick under there, I would. But we're not going to put all the weight on that stand. We're just going to let it rest a little bit. When I come back from a break, we're going to get this car out of here. If you like what you're watching, if you find it interesting, if you think that maybe I'll get better and the videos will get better, but if maybe you feel like there's some potential in this particular channel, if you would give us a like and a subscribe and, oh, what do they say? Hit that notification bell. That would be awesome. We're trying to build the channel up in as much as we can. Lift it up just a hair more. Get our bag of bolts. But yeah, anyway, I appreciate you watching no matter what. Watch hours or watch hours. And, you know, we try to have a good time when we're working out here in the shop. And sometimes things go smooth. And sometimes not so much. You know, everything that we did in this video, if you got the right tools and sometimes a little help, can easily be taken care of in a day. So don't underestimate yourself. Don't overestimate yourself either, by the way. Sometimes we need help, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it. Learn as much as you can along the way, and have fun while you're working. Hopefully our bolts are long enough and the block doesn't just whoop. That would not be good. Let's take a little pressure off. All in all, we're good. Happy overall with our hoist. I think it's going to be a good one for us. And I guess before we end this video, I'm going to unmount you from your stand. I know you've been having such a good time up there, but I just want to show you a few things before we finish it up, just to let you know what we've been dealing with, and we'll continue to deal with on this car. But you know, along this upper structure, pretty common with the Mustangs, but we got rot spots. Not hard to fix, but needs to be done. We got rot here. Somebody decided to cut a hole in our shock towers on both sides so that they could access a grease fitting. I want you to look at this one. Okay, it's pointing this way. So I could see if they cut that out, if they put a different fitting in that was pointing straight out. They didn't even do that. They just cut a hole, and all they really needed to do was put a fitting in and make sure it was pointing out, and then no hole necessary. Look, I'm all about maintenance and making life easy, but that was questionable. But then the biggest thing I wanted to show you under the hood, we talked about we're replacing the torque box. This car has been in an accident on the passenger side, but if you look at the structure of this panel right here, you can tell that it obviously is damaged. And if we go around to the other side, you can see that a plate has been, well, partially welded in, partially screwed in to resupport that inner brace. I might have that part, so we might be changing this piece out. Our torque box, obviously it's crushed in. We're crushed in up here. Hopefully we can just put our stud welder, put some tacks on there and get that pulled out so I don't have to pull the whole dash out of the car. But there again, that's a question I do not know the answer to yet at this point. You can also see up front, somebody welded in a support up here. The frame actually up front though, it doesn't look horrible. The driver's side looks decent as well. So there's nothing wrong with what we're doing. I mean, why wouldn't you bring a car back to life if you had the opportunity? You know, especially if you just get excited about a car and you don't really look it over well. And you just go ahead and purchase it without using your brain or listening to the advice that your wife probably told you. And she's listening to me right now, but she probably told me when I went to go get this car that, well, you know, just make sure it's a good one. And so as a man, I directly went ahead to the next step, and because she didn't think it was cool initially, you know, because she's not a Mustang gal, I just said, I've got to have it. Turns out when I brought it home, she actually thought this pile was a cool looking car. So a 1969 Mustang actually has a place in my wife's heart. So I'm excited about that. She's standing out here. She's ready to have a break. So let's just end the video with, in the fashion I would say that we always do. Go out into the world, use your gifts, your superpowers, all the talents that God gave you to make the world a better and brighter place. Be kind to others. Love on people. This life is short and I know it can be hard, but doing things for others will bring you more joy than just about anything else in life will. So God bless you. I love you guys, and we will see you on the next one. All right, so we got Big Ray out here. Throw the straps onto the forks. We're gonna be able to pick up on these forks. Gonna lift the back end of the Mustang up. We're gonna drive it out. I'm gonna put a couple of vice grips on there, maybe just to help hold these straps from moving. I don't want this strap moving on us. I don't want to take out the back windshield. I'm gonna raise it up. We're gonna take it out slow, and you can watch the whole thing. So, a lot of you have watched the Takeuchi videos. You've been wondering, how's it running? Well, it's running great. Some of that. Jasmine is not very happy with me right now, and I'm probably yelling, but we're gonna try and bring the Mustang over here and pull it right in front of the Ford Galaxy. So let's just set you up right here. You can still see what's going on. Let's do this. Look at those beautiful puppies. Jasmine, LB, good boy, good girl. Ladies and gentlemen, I would say the Big Red did a great job. I could bring this another couple feet forward. I don't think it's necessary. Jasmine has been a great supervisor, and I just hope that this was just a fun little way to end the day. We got the Mustang out of the shop, parked back here. We'll have to tarp it up. We need to tarp up the Galaxy too. We can get back to fixing our dailies that are broke down. But Big Red, I mean, this was no match. The thing's been running great. New injectors, new injection pump, Mustang engine transmission out today. It's been just a fabulous day. I'm gonna go ahead and lower this down, unhook the strap, go park Big Red, call it a day. It's been a lot of fun. Hope you've had a good time too. And again, like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell, and let's keep her going.